Hey, Joe, Neil Steele here for Neil Steele's Reviews, and today we're going to review an album that might have slipped under your radar because it wasn't given much promotion, to say the least, and being released the same day as Judas Priest's most recent album, Invisible Shield, was probably a bad marketing ploy on the particular company that has this particular band. The band is The End Machine, the third album, which is called The Quantum Phase. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with The End Machine is basically Dokken with a different singer. Okay? So there's two albums that they did, self-titled, and then Phase 2. So for the self-titled debut, you had the singer was Robert Mason, who had sung with Lynch Mob. He also sang with a band called Big Cock prior to Steel Panther arriving on the scene. They were a cock rock band, but Mason's a great singer. That's the self-titled second Lynch Mob album is a cracker. It's just as good as the debut, Weekend Sensation. Yeah, it's really good. So he's a good singer, and of course he sings in Warrant. He's done two albums with Warrant over the last decade or so. So great singer, Robert Mason. He's on both the first two albums by The End Machine. George Lynch, guitar player from Lynch Mob, obviously, and Dokken, as well as many side projects. He's on guitar. Jeff Pilson, of course, who used to be in Dokken, is now in Foreigner. Is also in The End Machine as a bass player and producer. And Wild Mick Brown, who was in Dokken, is on drums for the self-titled album. For the second album, Phase 2, Mick decided to drop out. He'd had enough, retired, and his brother steps in. And his brother is the same sort of drummer. I mean, you don't know it's not the same guy. I mean, the style is virtually identical in the way they play, and I don't think that's a negative. Steve Brown is, as good as Mick Brown. He's just got that style, right? So that's the first two albums. The first two albums are great. If you haven't heard the self-titled or Phase 2, definitely go and have a listen via YouTube, I would imagine, or their Lynch Mob webpage, I suppose. They're both really good albums. Mason delivers, the band delivers, there's good songs, it's all there. Okay, so now we're here to the third album, which came out in 2024. To me, it was one of the albums of the year. I thought it was a fucking absolute cracker album. And this is the third The End Machine album, right? So it's the same sort of style, like that Dokken Lynch Mob style that they've had on the other two albums, is again apparent here on this third album. The difference is Steve Brown's on drums, George Lynch is on guitar, Jeff Pilson's on bass, and the singer, Robert Mason, for whatever reason, whether the band wanted him or he couldn't do it because of his commitments, whatever, they get in a singer called Girish Pradham. Now, for those people who don't know who Girish Pradham is, he's an Indian heavy metal singer for a band called Girish and the Chronicles, GATC, right? This is their most recent and still their latest album, the third album by this Indian heavy metal band. It's fucking 9 and 10 out of 10. This album is an absolute cracker. The guy can sing, the band can play, they write good songs. So, lo and behold, he's now singing on this fucking album. So you've got those three guys that we just mentioned, as in Brown, Lynch, and Pilson, who have already cemented as The End Machine as the rhythm part of it, and they get in this fucking absolute bullshit singer, and he's a great fucking singer. He's one of the best heavy metal singers of the last fucking decade, bar none. I mean, he's up there as good as, if not better, than the dude who sang with Skid Row and Heat, right? Eric Rommel, he's a fucking great singer. Well, this guy's as good as him. Fucking oath he is. Or other singers that have that same sort of caliber and range as Eric Rommel, and there's plenty of them, especially through Europe, right? Because there's a number of bands. There's Eclipse, There's Heat, Wet. You know what I'm talking about. So you're talking about those sort of singers that have got that range. And Girish Pradham has the range. 100% he does. So this album's got 11 songs. They're all really good. There's a couple of slowies, but most of it is pretty up-tempo. Up-tempo, beg your pardon. Cooler of the Night's one of the singles. Silent Winter, Hell or High Water. They're all fucking really good. I shit you not, this album is, it's like 9 or 10 out of 10. It's fucking that good. And it just went under so many people's radar. I hardly saw any promotion for this fucking album anywhere on the music sites. Yeah? I certainly didn't see anything in the name magazines. I didn't see any articles or features in Classic Rock magazine or fucking Metal Hammer or Kerrang or any of the others. I didn't see this album featured, and that's one of fucking countless albums. The only outlet I've seen, and I haven't seen one for a while, was I think it's a UK publication called Power Play. They seem to give everyone, besides the generic fucking bands, that's what all the other magazines and most web pages cover, right? It's fucking boring. We just keep seeing the same fucking bands over and over and over. Like for 50 years I've been seeing about Black Sabbath and Whitesnake and fucking, all these bands I love. But I want to read about new shit. And that's what's fucking wrong with today's music world compared to, well, it's one of the bad things. It's probably one of the worst things today compared to back in 1980. Back in early 80s, there was no internet, right? So the only way that people would discover bands was word of mouth, because you'd go to the record shop and buy a new album and you'd fucking tell your mates and they'd borrow it off you and hopefully you'd get it back. Unless they liked it, then they'd fucking keep it. So that helped spread it around. And the only thing we had back in the day was magazines. And I shit you not, the best magazine back in the day, they might be around today, called Kerrang, but in the 80s, fuck me. So many bands on that magazine within the pages over a 5, 6, 7 year period that were unknown fucking bands to everybody, right? Sure, they might have had Kiss in there and Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin and, Black Sabbath and bands that people knew of, but the majority of shit that was in, and I mean shit in a good way, that was in Kerrang magazine back in the 80s, that broke all those fucking bands. So our generation went out and bought these albums, and that's what made these bands 40, 50 years later, they're fucking legends, because we were the ones that went out and bought this shit. We didn't give a fuck what they looked like, played like, or whatever. It was the music that did the talking. And I think that's lost a little bit in some bands today. But then you come along with a band like this, and they deliver the goods. The singer can sing, the band can play, the guitar is a shredder, bass player kicks ass, great drummer, great production, good songs. And it goes under the fucking radar because the industry is not behind it. Yes, the record label that they're signed to might be to a degree, but that's it. There's no exposure for these bands via media. There's only a handful of sites that actually promote this sort of stuff, unknown bands. As I said, most of them are in all the generic shit. So it's a real vicious circle. And they're one band of, fuck me, you can probably name 100 bands that have put out great albums in the last, 5 years, and people don't know about them because media's not behind them, radio doesn't play them, in certain parts of the world. It's pretty fucked up. Great album. I know a bit of a rave there, but look, do yourself a favour, as Molly Meldrum from Australia's Countdown TV show used to say back in the 70s and probably 80s. But 100%, 10 out of 10, great album, great singer. Check it out and you'll be blown away how fucking good it is. You'll be going, scratch your head, going, geez, how come I didn't get into this? It's because you didn't know about it. So hopefully by watching this, now you will. Cheers, catch you up, see you later.